The Australian Rally Championship goes on safari in Tasmania, where the hunter is six-time champion Possum Bourne, and the hunted is championship leader Ed Ordinsky. They split the difference in South Australia, but the pressure is piling up as we reach the final four heats. Something, someone is bound to break at the Subaru Safari. Hello, I'm Bill Woods. Welcome to round 5 of 6 in the Australian Rally Championship. A championship that Ed Ordinsky and the Mitsubishi leads by 11 points. However, if you drop the worst two heat times of the drivers so far in this championship, which they must do at the end of the season, you'll find that Possum Bourne is leading by 5 points so far. A long way to go, though, in a great contest. This round is worth 40 points. There's another 60 on offer in the final round in Victoria. So a great battle is looming. A battle that was really heating up in South Australia. Let's refresh your memory of the previous round. The title contenders traded blows in another wet rally in South Australia. Days of rain leading up to the event made tyre choice tough and put pressure on the crews. Ed Ordinsky had a little more pressure than most at his home event, but won the first heat by 17 seconds. Possum Bourne chased hard after breaking a drive shaft, winning 8 of 13 stages to finish second, ahead of Simon Evans and Cody Crocker. Michael Guest made his comeback to the series in this round, the only driver other than Ordinsky to have an Evo 7 at his disposal. But mechanical trouble left him 12th in Heat 1 and he completed only 6 stages of Heat 2. Bourne planned his Heat 2 attack very well. The series hinged on it. He set up a 16-second lead before taking a conservative approach to the middle stages, which were cut up after being rerun a few times. Ordinsky had no choice but to charge. He hacked that lead to only 5 seconds going into the tricky final stage of the day. However, Bourne responded to take that stage by 1 second, winning one of the closest heats of the series. More importantly, Bourne's win gave him 12 of the 21 stages in total, and that gave him a valuable bonus point for the round. Cody Crocker, who had trouble with gearbox problems all weekend, took 3rd in Heat 2 and 3rd overall, ahead of Spencer Lowndes, who was very pleased with his best finish of the series so far. This is the second major rally that Subaru is sponsoring this year. Earlier on, they decided for the first time to sponsor the Asia Pacific Championship round in Canberra. Well, that turned out to be a hoodoo for their own drivers. They had a terrible weekend. So the team orders now are change your luck.
The Subaru camp were remarkably relaxed in the lead up to this event. Despite Mitsubishi leading the Drivers' and Manufacturers' Championship, there seemed to be an air of confidence within Team Blue.
This is a Subaru-backed event. How important is it for you guys and this team to want to do well here?
If you don't see us at the next event, you'll know that we didn't win.
I feel a bit of pressure actually because Possum and Cody have been on the podium this year. I think it's my turn to make it a 1, 2, 3, so I've probably got the most of all.
Yeah, it is. I mean, they tried with Canberra and we didn't get that right, so they've sponsored this one to give us a chance. And he said last night, don't come home if you don't win. So I said, can you go and sort it out? That'll make it a bit easier.
The navigators were equally at ease despite the inherent pressure to perform well at their own events.
Bloody important to do well. I mean,
important is not the word I'd put on it. It's
bit of pressure.
So we had our marketing manager at the cocktail party last night putting the whole pressure on us, especially after what happened in Canberra. So but I think we'll be all right. 1, 2, 3 in any order. Hey.
We're still deciding between ourselves what order that's going to be, you know.
Well, they are. 2, 3. So, right?
Yeah, hey, what number we got now, Carlo? We got number 1.
Expand on that a bit more because the Canberra situation I know must be a little bit of a sore point and probably something you want to put from the furthest from your mind. But do you think about that at all?
I've forgotten about what happened in Canberra.
It was an event we did there. There was the prospect of having a great event there. I mean, we had 3 cars in the top 5 after the first day, but obviously things went to cactus in a couple of hours. So we removed those hours from the rally schedule and we should be right. So.
Unfortunately, that's just rallying, you know. Sometimes it goes really well and within 2 stages it can turn from really good to absolutely tragic. So
it happens, and you've got to expect that when you go and rally, and every now and then it happens.
Yeah, I think if you look at the picture from a wider scale, we've had a pretty good run. It's just a real shame you couldn't do it in your own sponsors or your own teams.
Having a three-pronged attack is certainly an advantage, but it's not a guarantee. Drivers like Scott Pedder and Michael Guest could spoil the party, and Mitsubishi would love nothing more than a repeat of Canberra, the ambush marketing from winning a rivals event.
Heat 1 of the Subaru Safari this year is 9 stages over 118 competitive kilometres. Heat 2 is 8 stages over 102 competitive kilometres. And they cover some of the most exciting terrain in the championship, as Greg Rust reports.
We're based in Hobart for this round, the capital of Tasmania. Settled around 1804, the city is nestled between the banks of the Derwent River and the foothills of a rugged mountain range. The character and charm of this wonderful area have been meticulously preserved. Many of the cottages and pubs that were part of colonial history are still standing. It's a small but very beautiful city, devoid of the hustle and bustle you often find in other capitals. And a short drive from town is one of Hobart's must-see attractions.
There's no snow up here today, but that's not an uncommon sight on Mount Wellington. It's the easternmost point of the Wellington Range, which extends 25 kilometres inland. The mountain, as it's more fondly known, was named after the Duke of Wellington in 1824, and on a clear day like today, you can see all of southern Tasmania and most of Hobart. Is that a Tasmanian tiger? Nah, it's just a possum.
The countryside surrounding Hobart is serene. The air is crisp and unpolluted. You can't help but feel relaxed here. No wonder they call it one of the precious jewels of Australia's south.
Near the upper reaches of the Derwent River, around 40 kilometres from Hobart, is Bushy Park. There's not much happening at the moment, but during the course of the rally there'll be service park action just down the road and a stage that runs right through the very middle of the hop fields here. Now, there's not much growing on these rather ungainly looking lines at present, but it's in this very area that some of the finest hops are grown for Tasmania's great beers. This is probably one of the best places to enjoy one of those beers. This is Constitution Dock, site of the official finish of the Sydney to Hobart yacht race on the Derwent River here in Hobart. Lots of good places like Fish Frenzy to enjoy some seafood, and of course, one of those beers that I was talking about. Cheers.
New rules in the Australian Rally Championship this year has meant that there are a lot of title contenders, more so than ever before, and this man is certainly one of them, Simon Evans. But it also varies from round to round. John Smales reports on the people to watch in the Subaru Safari.
Over the last 2 rounds, the race for the lead has become fixated on Bourne versus Ordinsky, but that battle belies a depth of field that's stronger than ever. Just 8 corrected points separate the top 4 contenders for the Privateers Championship. The sensational Atkinson brothers lead, but when they drop their worst 2 rounds, they're just 5 points clear of Simon Evans. With memories of the Adelaide crash now distant, and with co-driver wife Sue in a neck brace and winged seat for protection, the Evans team is hunting outright places. The big chance is Michael Guest. Local Les Walkden has built the best Evo 7 he can. The team has spent the week testing on local roads, and the former international is red hot for major competition.
I've been doing this for a long time, and you get a feeling of when things are starting to come right, and we're certainly in that ballpark now where we needed to be at the start of Adelaide. So things are looking good. We haven't been here for 4 years, and Julie and I had a great recce. The notes went well, so we'll give it a go.
Guest teammate is Mark Walkden, blue to his friends. He's the son of Les, and while at 32 he's not a young gun, this year marks his first shot at the National Championship, and he comes with the benefit of his father's experience and infrastructure.
Yeah, he's pretty hard on me, but it's been good. I've learnt the hard way, but that's the best way.
First up in an ARC is Will Orders. Just 19, Will is the son of Pedder's team manager Bill, and he's Mark and Scott's cousin. He's driving the ex-Ordinsky Evo 1 Lancer, in which Scott won the Victorian title.
It was probably another 1 or 2 years, and yeah, I would have been wrapped. But 19 is an absolute treat. Just to be here is, very special for me.
And on the subject of dynasties, young Craig Neal has taken over the car formerly driven by Sam Yamaguchi. It's owned by his dad Frank, a long-time enthusiast. Craig christened it with a roll in shakedown.
I'm hoping to go well this weekend. Can't wait to get out on the fast roads. First time here. I can't wait.
From New South Wales, Ben Barker has caught the eye of Neil Bates, and Neil's been helping him out. Like Neil with Coral Taylor, Ben has the very experienced Lyndall Drake as co-driver for only his second pace-noted rally.
Yeah, well, Neil sort of, as soon as I got the car, we went up to the Canberra and had a bit of a run around, and he sort of jumped in with me, and we had a few laps up there, and he liked the way I drove it, and it was more really on the high speed stuff. He just had a few more ideas on the car setup more than anything, and he was pretty happy all around with the way we were doing things, and yeah, just changed a couple of little things.
And then there's the former Aussie car champion Steve Winwood. Over his Ford phase and in a four-wheel drive Mitsubishi for the first time, he's dialed up a unique handling package to help him feel at home.
We've tightened the rear diff up and we've set it up, and we've talked to Rally Art and we've set it up so it is rear drivey, so I should be happy with it going sideways a fair bit. Whether that's quicker or slower, I'm not too sure until we get into it a bit more.
But so far, the team they're all watching is Mitsubishi Rally Art. Of course, not only does Ed Ordinsky lead the championship, but Spencer Lowndes, who drives this car, is getting better and better with every round. After the break, we'll take to the stages for the Subaru Safari.
I'm Ed Ordinsky from Team Mitsubishi Rally Art. You're watching the Australian Rally Championship on Network 10.
Steve Martin.
So tell me, what do you like about your co-driver, Chris?
I guess, the one thing from a rallying point of view I really love about Chris is, he's got a lot of experience and he's really helped me write better pace notes and, in the end drive faster. So that's a real positive, and, we are good mates outside rallying as well. We go out to dinner together and, have a few drinks together, which is great.
He's an absolute lunatic at the parties afterwards. He's got a switch in his head and it goes from I'm the rally man and then I'm a lunatic.
Well, he's one of the great legends of the sport. He's renowned as being one of the very best co-drivers in Australia. So, any driver in the field would love to have him in the left-hand seat, and I'm very fortunate to have him there.
The action began with a new concept for this particular rally anyway, and that was a Friday night stage in the city. And there were some interesting results.
The Subaru Safari begins and ends with this 1.15 kilometre special stage at Hobart's Derwent Entertainment Centre. Thousands braved the cold conditions to see the event under lights for the first time. Running the field in reverse order kept the crowd entertained, and the top seeds reassessing their tyre choices as the track deteriorated with each pass. Despite breaking a CV joint in shakedown, Lee Peterson set the early pace in Formula 2 with a time of 1 minute 13 seconds. Showman Dave Thompson didn't disappoint in front of his home crowd.
Oh, well, we're a bit like a short-sighted javelin thrower. We're never going to win anything, but we'll keep the crowd on their feet.
There were new faces and new cars debuting at the event. Two that impressed were Steve Winwood in his new Group N Lancer Evo 6, putting in a solid time of 1 minute 9 seconds. But one of the standout performances came from young Will Orders in the third car from the Petters stable. He set the fastest time of 1 minute 7 seconds and held on to this lead until Ben Barker went a second faster in his Lancer Evo 3. Into the top 10, and Scott Petter broke through to take the fastest time of 1 minute 5 seconds in what looked like a relatively smooth run.
Smooth? You should have been on the inside. No, a lot rougher than today. I think it's the first 20 or 30 cars have dug the stage up a lot. So, yeah, good run, but tomorrow.
Privateers Chris Atkinson and John Goasdaway both battled against worsening track conditions, but were both a second off the pace. Spencer Lowndes gambled with new front tyres and it paid off. He was a second faster than Petter, equalling Cody Crocker's Group N record of 1 minute 4 seconds set last year. But he predicted that this time wouldn't be fast enough.
Yeah, I think probably a 1:02 we'll see tonight.
Dean Herridge in the first of the Works Subarus equalled Lowndes' time, as did teammate Cody Crocker. Michael Guest was fastest in shakedown, but his super soft tyre choice didn't work in the rougher conditions, and he was a second off the fastest pace.
Yeah, actually, more so than I thought. It didn't cut up that badly today, but obviously the grading hasn't improved it too much, so a bit of a trap for unwary players there.
Simon and Sue Evans were on maximum attack, but could only reach equal fastest time.
Damn, I wanted to be fastest, but hey, you get that, and it's a good company to be fastest with.
Ed Ordinsky powered the Evo 7 around the stage in a near faultless run. His time of 1 minute 3 seconds gave him the lead, with just one car left to run.
You must be pretty happy with that?
Yeah, of course. You know, it'd be interesting to see what Poss does.
He wasn't alone. All eyes were on Possum Bourne. A missed gear and the wrong tyre choice cost Bourne, finishing 2 seconds off Ordinsky's pace.
I went for too soft a tyre. I thought it was going to actually get a bit damp, so the gamble didn't pay off. So it was terrible. Wouldn't turn in very good. So you just got to do the best you can.
Heading into the forest stages, Ordinsky has a 1 second lead over Crocker, Lowndes, Herridge and Evans. A further second behind, Bourne shares equal 6th position with Michael Guest and Scott Pedder.
The focus of the Subaru Safari now moves out to Bushy Park as we tackle the first of the forest stages for this rally.
The Derwent Entertainment Centre special stage was a small entree for Heat 1. It would be completed by 117 kilometres of competitive. Torrent was the longest stage at 23.6 k's, and there were 2 passes over it during day 1. Possum Bourne and Mark Stacey were the first to sample the slippery roads Torrent had to offer. The steering wheel providing the kind of feedback Bourne wasn't looking for. The tyre choice and suspension settings weren't a perfect match for the roads, and he had to wrestle with the WRX, driving around a problem as only a champion driver can.
40. Left through dip. 40. Caution 6-7 right over crest. Blip 4-5 left. Open. 30 bridge.
In 12.5 minutes, they covered 23 kilometres. Others managed to shave vital seconds off the benchmark. Ed Ordinsky and Ian Stewart trimmed 3 off Bourne's best.
Then 8 right continues. Short 7 right over grid.
Simon and Sue Evans tackled this stage like they would any other at 10 tenths. Their crash at the last round hadn't softened Simon's trademark commitment and determination.
Caution, fast left 1 over crest, long, then tightens to turn left 3. 80. Fast left 100. Caution, left 1.5 over crest, then right 2 long downhill.
They were only 2 seconds shy of Ed's mark, 1 ahead of Bourne. Team Red held the top spot briefly. The blue camp was about to steal it back. Cody Crocker and Greg Folletta were in the zone, the pair showing the sort of form that had taken them to 4 Group N titles.
10 top crest into 9 right, 70. Slippy 9 left into crest, slippy 8 right. Finish. 12.22. Good job.
It was an impressive drive, fast, precise and right on the money. 12 minutes and 22 seconds, giving them a 4-second advantage over Ordinsky and a massive confidence boost. Michael Guest hoped pre-event testing had sorted the team's new Evo 7 Lancer. 6th fastest over Torrent, 1 second behind Dean Herridge, whose gutsy drive ensured the factory Subarus all finished in the top 5. Spencer Lowndes and Chris Atkinson were duelling, the Queenslander squeezing an extra second out of his privateer Mitsubishi for 8th and pushing Lowndes back to 9th. John Goazdaway grabbed the final spot in the top 10. Les Walkden's son Mark was the best local in 11th place. The next stage, Mugara, had Ed Ordinsky's name all over it.
And hug 8 right. Into long 8 left. And hug long 7 right, water inside.
8 minutes and 54 seconds was all it took to complete the 15.9k run. The time also enabled Ordinsky and Stewart to wrestle the outright lead away from Crocker.
100. Into 9 right. Into Big Rock coming, 9 left mid. 10 right left, 70 slow 7 right, into turn 1 left rock.
Despite Crocker's awesome drive, he was 5 seconds off Ordinsky's staggering pace. Possum still had his hands full, but pushed on regardless. Bourne still managed to bank third fastest time, but was 3 seconds behind his teammate. Simon Evans continued to harass the factory Subarus, his eyes transfixed on the road, the intensity, proof of his deep-seated desire for victory.
2.5, opens, 50, caution, easy left, 2.5 long, over crest.
He was fourth fastest, but the 3-second gap to Bourne cost Evans third outright. Scott Pedder was in scintillating form, fifth on this one, and looking like there's more to come.
6 left over rail, 30, turn 2 right, 100. Seven left, 50.
The seesawing contest between Lowndes and Atkinson was resolved in Lowndes' favour this time. The pair separated by 2 seconds on this run. Suspected fuel surge failing to stop Atkinson taking 7th. Herridge and Glenn McNeil suffered a drop in power in their WRX. Knocking on the door of the top 10 was Ben Barker. Possum Bourne and Simon Evans were the only drivers to complete the next stage. It was cancelled after this frightening crash involving rally leaders Ordinsky and Stewart.
Short 9 right, crest into 5 right, 100.
Almost instinctively, Ordinsky selects first and continues to the finish just metres away. But their rally is over and the championship lead gone. Slow motion replays show the car slipping off the road into a pole. What isn't clear from this amateur vision is the guide cables holding the pole in place. They rip through the rear door skin like a massive razor blade. Thankfully, the roll cage does its job, saving the pair from more serious injuries. Moments later, Ordinsky and Stewart face the waiting media. At this point, they're running on pure adrenaline.
I just stepped out on the last corner of the stage and, went out wide, got one of the poles. Just, inexplicable, but it happens,
The car was sideways quite quickly and not much warning, no. I thought we were going to miss the tree or the pole or whatever it was that we did hit, but then it became apparent that this wasn't going to happen and I had no time to tuck myself up at all. I thanked Ed for missing it with my door.
It's just so disappointing.
It is. It's worse news for the championship for us, for sure.
At first they seem okay, but after doctors' examinations, Ordinsky becomes hypotensive and is taken to hospital with suspected broken ribs. Ian has minor bruising, but is clearly shaken by the incident.
Oh, that's a bit of an understatement, so it might be an early flight home for me.
Cody Crocker claimed stage 5 by 2 seconds and was now the event leader. The buffer over Possum Bourne was 13 seconds. Lowndes was third on this one, just ahead of Pedder. This stage proved costly for Simon and Sue Evans.
Then left 2.5.
Flat tyre. How long?
Still got a good, probably 15.
Oh, you're joking.
Left 2.5, right 100.
Okay, let's pull over, we're going to do it.
They lost almost 3.5 minutes, dropping to 19th outright. Crocker tore through the Wilton stage at 7 seconds faster than any other driver.
9 right mid. Into 9 left. Into crest 9 right, 70. Care crest 7 left. 150.
Nice to see you smiling, mate. This is so good, I tell you.
Possum Bourne was upstaged by Spencer Lowndes on this one. The Kiwi still second outright, but 23 seconds behind Crocker.
Had a very bad tyre choice this morning, too soft, and we went harder for there, but definitely the tyres for the last sort of 5-6 kilometres are really mushy, so very much too soft in there. And but we've fixed our setup problem from this morning, so the car's going a lot better.
Dean Herridge was equal third and driving the best he has all season despite the problem.
It's hard work, it really is. I mean, you get the car feeling quite good for one stage and it feels ordinary for the other. Car was super taily in there. I thought we might have broken something for a little while, but The time doesn't seem to be all that bad, so we're pretty happy.
Michael Guest's weekend was going from bad to worse. He eventually arrived at the end of stage control, but had lost massive amounts of time.
Broke the rear diff or the drive shaft 6k from the finish of the first of these two stages, and then started in this one, and yeah, just packed it in totally, and we couldn't get any drive up the hill and mucked around, and we've got enough drive to get to the end here, so we'll have to sort it out for tomorrow.
Putting the first part of Heat 1 under the microscope, Ordinsky's crash ended a great start to the event for Mitsubishi's number 1. Crocker regained the top spot, winning SS5 and 6. Bourne did well considering the gearbox and handling problems. Evans' dramas on SS5 were costly, dropping him to 27th. Lowndes and Herridge lost ground on SS2 and 3, but recovered on the final 2 stages.
We'll come back after the break with more stages from the Subaru Safari, including another look inside rally with John Smales.
Hi, I'm Spencer Lowndes from Team Mitsubishi Rally Art, and you're watching the Australian Rally Championship on Network 10.
Welcome back to our coverage of the Subaru Safari, and we're edging closer now to a very, very important stage in the championship. Let's go to the first stages of Heat 2.
Possum Bourne changed gearbox and tyres before the last set of 3 stages. The team had rushed hard compound Pirellis out from Hobart, the first time they'd ever had to use them in Tasmania.
1, go. 80, slippy 5 left.
But even as he attacked the short Bushy Park stage, Cody Crocker's gear arms started to bend, making selection a lottery. The 2 Subarus tied the stage. Rally Art's Bob Riley had spent time with Spencer Lowndes at the regroup, encouraging him after Ordinsky's crash. He tied with Dean Herridge a second behind the leaders. Beginning the long haul back from 16th, Simon Evans was struggling with tyre choice, and an equal third fastest advanced in just 2 places. In 6th place, just ahead of John Goasdaway, Chris Atkinson left the road, incredibly losing just 2 seconds. The superfast Torrent was the first of the repeat stages, and Bourne put his new tyres to good use. He took 11 seconds off his first pass at an average speed of 115 kilometres an hour. But determined to make this heat his, Crocker was quicker, adding another second to his leading margin.
80, 8 left, right, left, 10 right, 120.
Of the top competitors, Evans was struggling. He was 5 seconds slower than his first run, moving up just 1 place.
What do you do now, Simon?
Try and recuperate and get back out there and, try and pull some stage times and get back into the flow of things and take some good lines and just get the car set up for tomorrow because, obviously the pace is hot and tomorrow is going to be super fast.
The big movers were the new young guns. On home territory, Mark Walkden found impressive speed. He was 7th fastest, beating Chris Atkinson for the first time. Ben Barker was 10th, and Craig Neal took half a minute off his first run to claim 12th on the stage. But consistency is a problem for all newcomers, and on the next stage, the last of the heat, Walkden dropped almost 20 seconds to both Atkinson and Barker. Crowd pleaser Dave Thompson only had to finish to claim the Aussie Car Cup for the year. 2 stages out, the big Holden cracked its differential, a victim of its driver's exuberance.
Did it occur to you that it was a good idea to actually finish today?
Oh yeah, but there were spectators coming up and we wanted to be a bit hot into the spectators, so we kind of messed it.
With his first heat victory of the season in sight, Cody Crocker was in trouble. He'd hit a rock, fracturing the oil reservoir in his front left shock absorber. As handling rapidly diminished, he eased through the stage, dropping more than half a second a kilometre to Bourne. But it was time he had to give, and the win was very special.
50, 10 crest, 80, come on, right clip finish, it's 10 crest, 120 in. Yeah! Ah!
Cody Crocker, congratulations. Well done.
Oh, it's been a long time. This is just absolutely perfect. Just beautiful.
You were still pulling time off Possum even those last couple of stages.
Yeah, these sorts of stages, you can't afford to back off too much because, you don't know, Possum changed the gearbox and it solved the problem he had with gears, and so, you know, like he could have picked up 10, 20 seconds a stage, so we were sort of getting to the end of the stage. First stage of those two was like, well, 1 second, that's all right, we can do that.
Not so teammate Dean Herridge. His Subaru had been mysteriously losing power and he had to drive at maximum potential to claim fifth.
We're driving absolutely flat out. Like, it all feels quite good. Unfortunately, in the last one, it felt excellent, but the time was a bit average. Spencer took a fair chunk out of us, so we're attacking, but we're not quite on it.
In third and fourth place, Spencer Lowndes and Scott Pedder had scored strong manufacturer points for the depleted Mitsubishi team. Without the inspirational Ordinsky, they'd done their job well.
Yeah, that'll do. Good fun down there. You know, most fun I've had in a long time. You know, good bit of road, nice, fast and flowing, and you can just really keep the vehicle moving and keep the vehicle speed right up, which is, you know, the best way to drive.
Both Simon Evans and Possum Bourne were on hard compound tyres and both hit maximum efficiency towards the end, tying the stage win. For Evans, it was some consolation as he eased into 10th overall. For Bourne, as he looked forward to the next heat, a Subaru 1-2 was cause for heady optimism.
No, go for it, you know, but not silly. It's ours now. We've just got to finish all the rounds from here.
Stage by stage, Crocker's problems and his determination are apparent. He tied with Bourne on 7, beat him on 8, but fell away in the closing stage. New tyres left Simon Evans back in the field in the opening tests, but when they were working, he tied with Bourne on stage 9. Lowndes and Herridge were both brilliant in equal third position around Bushy Park, but as his engine got hotter, Herridge became slower, 8th only on special stage 9. Cody Crocker had claimed his first win of the year. Predictably, the top 5 works drivers filled the first 5 places. But look at the back 3. Chris Atkinson had lived up to his goal of challenging the works teams, ahead of the dogged John Goasdaway, and then a new name, Ben Barker, only his second ARC and already on the leaderboard.
Time to pause now once again for another look at the inner workings of the Australian Rally Championship. We're going inside rally with John Smales, who'll explain this week on why this 000 car is only one small part of the massive undertaking at every event to ensure the safety of the competitors.
From an hour before the start of a special stage, the course is under surveillance. First comes the 000 car. Its job is to check road closures are in place and that spectator and media points are secure. At the half hour comes the 00. Faster, it carries the event checker who ensures the course is as per the road book. Finally, there's the 0 car, usually driven by a competent competitor who checks the stage at the very last minute. On longer courses, the 0 car might be still on the course when the first competitor starts. The checking is that immediate. Every 5 kilometres, there are SOS points, radio stations which check the cars through. If a car fails to appear, a check occurs further up the radio chain until the car is found. If there's a problem, that's when they call in the FIVs. FIV stands for First Intervention Vehicle. There are 6 of them at this rally, each of them equipped with a comprehensive medical kit and staffed by either a doctor or a paramedic and, of course, a fire marshal. Tasmanian Jeff Becker runs an FIV service used by most ARC organisers. It's largely voluntary, but highly professional.
It's very hard to get a lot of people to come out and do the sport because it's free. You know, they don't get paid for it. It's a love of the sport. The setup is unique to rallying and it's been designed to meet rally stages. And to date, our response times have all been under 10 minutes to all serious incidences.
In the control centre, all radio reports are correlated on a computer readout, which lets the clerk of the course know what's happening in the field. And finally, at stage end, a sweep vehicle goes through to declare the road open, usually accompanied by recovery vehicles to remove any trace of a driver's indiscretion.
Coming up on the Subaru Safari, we take a detour. An Aussie Assault is preparing for the Japanese round of the Asia Pacific Championship. And we take some class action in the National Series.
What do you dislike about your co-driver, Mark Stacey?
What do I dislike about Mark? I'll have to go away and think. I'll work my way through the list.
He said very nice things about you.
No, actually, Mark does a fantastic job, and it'd be a bit hard to sort of pick on him because I can't really think of anything in the car that I dislike about what he's doing. Otherwise, he wouldn't be there.
No, not at all. I mean, you wouldn't be together if you couldn't get on well. So, no, the worst thing about him is if he ever takes the wheel, that's really scary.
No, I mean, really, he does a great job, and we are good mates. I guess, the only thing I probably dislike about him is, sometimes he can be a bit opinionated.
Welcome back, and before we go on with more of the Subaru Safari, a quick look at the big picture, so to speak. We've had 3 rounds so far this year of the Asia Pacific Rally Championship, one in Australia, in Canberra, of course, which was sponsored by Subaru, and then we had the rounds in New Caledonia and New Zealand. And the Japan round is the next one. That's where a few Australians intend to compete.
Included in the entry list for the Japan round of the Asia Pacific Rally Championship are the ARC's top factory teams of Ed Ordinsky and Possum Bourne.
We are entered in the championship this year. It was our original plan to do the whole championship, but for budget reasons they fell over. But we've managed to get a good budget together for Hokkaido, and also the Alpine Rally, which is a tarmac rally that runs about a month after. So we're going to take our Group A car up there and do both events. Something I've always wanted to do, go to Japan.
Any round of the Asia Pacific Championship you can get to is fantastic. We missed New Caledonia this year. We had a lousy run in Rotorua and a lousy run in Canberra, so our motivation is to get there and win a bloody event this year.
Mitsubishi had planned to freight Ordinsky's current Group N Evo 7 to Hokkaido, but after his crash in Heat 1, the team has had to reassess those plans.
We're still going, subject to 2 conditions really. We're having the car assessed today. I'm sure we'll be able to get that ready in time. But the main concern of mine is that Ed's 100% fit and there'll be no ongoing problems with this situation here.
The team have brought forward the build of a brand new car that they were building for Telstra Rally Australia later in the year. So that car is madly being put together now for the Japanese event. So that's fantastic news for us because we're going to Japan largely as a reward for winning the Rally of Canberra, which was the opening round of the Asia Pacific Championship. And a lot of people here at Mitsubishi Australia, Mitsubishi Japan, and the organisers of the Hokkaido Rally have, got together to make it possible for us to go. So for the whole team at Rally Out Australia, a reward for a tremendous run in the Rally of Canberra.
For Possum Bourne, the 4th round of the championship is a chance to debut the new spec Group A Impreza.
We looked at it when a new car came and we thought we would like to build and homologate a car ourselves. So we've gone through that process of learning how to actually go about all that and how to work with Japan and who to deal with there to get all those things made legal so we can use the car. Now it's finally built. When I leave here I go back and test it and then the car will fly to Japan on about the 22nd.
It's going to be the same mechanical, the driveline really as a World Rally car from a year or so ago, so it should be fantastic.
The biggest challenges facing the teams will be the fierce local competition.
They go full kamikaze speed, I tell you. So it'll be hard work to try and beat them. And Katsu Taguchi, probably their best driver at this time, he's driving a factory Mitsubishi, so we've got the job in front of us to try and win. And the roads there are narrower than here and a little bit looser. That's still a good gravel road that should be a lot of fun to drive on, and I'm quite looking forward to getting up there actually.
Now let's get back to the Australian Rally Championship again. We talk a lot, of course, about the sharp end of the field, but there are men like John Guazdaway who just went past us, making a big impact now that the playing field is level. And also there are the class leaders as well.
When 32-year-old beef farmer Stephen Hanbury decided to go rallying last year, he built a WRX estate from second-hand parts, saving himself $50,000. Hanbury this year shares service facilities with Simon Evans. It saves them both a lot of money, and Stephen picks up very valuable advice along the way.
I'm actually hoping to get Simon in the car with me to give me a few tips on what I'm doing wrong and how I can improve.
From position 10 back, the Australian Rally Championship is a field of dreamers. Ambition abounds, but so too does the sheer enjoyment of participation.
I come here really to support my son, and I get invited along because they just want to hear a big noise. They certainly don't get much action.
John Hills and his son David compete in two very different cars. David, a Group A Lancer, which is always in the top half dozen privateers, and John in a 30-year-old BDA Escort, which sounds sensational. The Hills are largely self-funded, providing exposure for their company, Aussie Duct, and that's not unusual. Flamboyant Aussie car race David Thompson channels sponsorship funds from his pipeline company.
Yeah, well, it's good profile for our company, and because our company is our only sponsor. And yeah, what else do you do? You can only go and buy a boat, I suppose, and go fishing and do something like that. So I'd rather do this.
John Goasdaway spends a lot of time offshore installing refrigeration units and competes when time and budget allows. This year, he's a big contender for the privateers title, but money is tight and he's both driver and mechanic. It's not easy.
You know, I worry about not only how I'm going to drive it, but whether it's been prepared properly and that little part that's about to break and so forth. So it makes things pretty tough coming up to an event.
The Proton Cup One Make Series should be for champions of the future, but this year it's being led by two veterans. The series leader carries a big rap. Meet Ian Thorpe. No, really, Ian Thorpe.
It does have its advantages when you go to restaurants, that's about the only one, but I must get asked about 5 or 6 times a day if I'm the one.
But Ian has serious intent. His 18-year-old son is this year his team manager, but next year the roles reverse.
I want to get him into motorsport and this is a fantastic way to do it. So he has to do his apprenticeship as a service crew and a team manager, and next year he takes the car over.
2 years ago, Todd Reed won Proton Cup. Now he's in Formula 2 while his team builds a Group N prototype Waja, giving him a chance to contest the outright title next year.
2 years from now, where will you be?
Top 5. Well, it's wildest fantasy, so you've got to have ambitions and aspirations.
While Warwick Brooklyn leads Formula 2 and is heading for his first national championship title after just 10 rallies, spare a thought for fellow Daihatsu driver 21-year-old Brett Comber. He rented a WRX from Simon Evans at this year's Canberra rally, but crashed on stage 1.
I felt like a big lemon at the time. I was very disappointed in myself, and I sort of went into my cocoon for a while, but it's all about how you learn from your mistakes and get back on the horse and try again.
Brett and his dad Graham are now back in the faithful Daihatsu, second to Brooklyn in the Formula 2 title, but Graham's faith in Brett is huge and they're planning a Group N car for next year.
There are times when he really does well, and we come up to a big corner on a crest or something, and I think, oh, this is going to be the end, and we come out the end just beautifully, and it's magic, absolutely magic, and we both sort of cheer, and that's really good. That's really good. That's what it's all about, I think.
We'll come back to Bushy Park after the break with more of the Subaru Safari. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Possum Bourne from Subaru Rally Team Australia, and you're watching the Australian Rally Championship on your home of motorsport, 10.
Subaru Safari marks an innovation in start timing accuracy. Conventionally, crews rely on a countdown, 10 seconds to 1, before they start. It places a huge responsibility on officials who are in the main highly competent. But there is an ever-present potential for human error and to be unfairly accused of a jump start. Now, Tony Wright, who runs Rally Tasmania, has bought from the World Rally Championship what was their official timing system. And in a count from 1 to 5, its consistency is unbeatable. 40 centimetres on the other side of the start is a beam. Break it and you're penalised a minute. Now here's the catch. The Australian Rally Championship is timed to the second, but this system times to the thousandth of a second, and officials of this event have decided that the machine's accuracy will be the one that counts.
I mean, that's the World Championship standard, so I mean, that's what the FIA have decided, and we've obviously introduced that here. So I think it is enough. It takes about sort of 0.3 of a second from the start line to sort of 40 centimetres, so I think that's all right.
The next move is to apply the same technique to the finish. This gun will do it. It'll transmit with pin-sharp accuracy, unlike the visual system which exists today.
Where we have a big discrepancy is at the finish of the stages, where it's somebody, we're moving usually very quickly past a fixed point and they stop a clock. and that's always, we've got to allow that to be within 1 or 2 seconds. This system works really nice, and we'll be really happy. We do a rally, and we'll be ready to use it forever. I hope they can get the end of the stages, to as an accurate system. That'd be great.
Well, Mark Petter's car wasn't the only one sitting on a trailer after the early stages of Heat 1. They were breaking poles and certainly breaking cars. Let's run to the finish.
The second day of competition contained just over 100 kilometres of competitive driving. The 23k Torrance stage would run for a third and fourth time, with the finish to be held back in Hobart with the second running of the 1k DEC special stage. A change of weather on the second day of competition. Overnight rain had dampened the roads and intermittent showers were expected all day.
This rain's changed the whole situation a bit, and I don't know if it'll make us more even or if it'll bring us more apart between the works teams, so it'll be interesting to see what happens.
There's going to be a lot of different tyre choices, I think, and whoever gets the right one will know afterwards.
Right from the get-go, Possum Bourne made his Heat 2 intentions clear. He mastered the slippery conditions and tore through Torrent in 12 minutes and 16 seconds. Buoyed by the confidence from his Heat 1 victory, Cody Crocker wasn't about to play second fiddle.
Into 9 left tightens. Into Cares, 7 right long. It's all right, 7 right long here.
The damage was minor and it failed to take the edge off Crocker's best performance of the year. He was second quickest, 8 seconds behind Bourne. This stage was a litmus test for Simon Evans' swap to customer spec Yokohama tyres.
Right 2.5 long. Easy left 2.5, very long. Right 2 tightens to 2.5.
He was third, 2 seconds off Crocker's pace. The responsibility of flying Mitsubishi's flag didn't seem to be weighing on Spencer Lowndes' mind. He and co-driver Chris Randell were an impressive fourth on the stage. With his boost problems sorted from the previous day, John Goasdewey was flying fifth. Chris Atkinson was pushing hard, eager to score points after being nominated by Mitsubishi for the manufacturer's standings. It was a disappointing early exit after another impressive drive and being nominated to score manufacturer's points for Mitsubishi.
You alright?
I just came onto that bridge and wasn't going too quick at all, I didn't think, and went to slow down to come off the bridge, and it was just like ice nearly on the bridge.
Do you think the wet weather conditions caught you out a bit?
Yeah, definitely. Just a silly mistake.
Another big-name entry to bow out was Mark Petter and Tony Fever.
Sort of tried to go through the stage and we've had a couple of spins and we thought, something's not right. We've jumped out and they've ripped the tail shaft in half. So why, I've got no idea. Hopefully the boys can shed a bit of light on it now.
Equally impressive, Ben Barker in 7th, just 4 seconds behind Michael Guest, who was struggling to generate heat in his tyres. Steve Winwood grabbed the final spot in the top 10 in his new Mitsubishi. 11th fastest and putting many four-wheel drives to shame was Brett Comber in the giant-killing Daihatsu. Bourne was brilliant on the next stage, the third pass of the weekend over Mugara.
30. 6 right, 30. Crest and 6 right opens.
He was 7 seconds quicker than anybody else after 2 stages. He built up a 15-second buffer.
We have a very good wet setup in the car, or damp, slippery setup, and you can see that the pendulum swings a bit our way, and Cody's is a good dry setup. So very interesting how that and how close it is and how that makes it change, just a slight change in the weather.
Crocker and Folletta had adjusted their suspension settings on the front of the car, and that made the ride stiffer. He was second on the stage and focused on winning the round.
Into 8 right mid. 50. Tricky. 8 right crest mid. 40. Turn 4 right.
Simon Evans made it a Subaru trio in the top 3. Evans was only 2 seconds behind Crocker on the stage and 4 behind in outright turns. Herridge turned heads at spectator points with his aggressive driving. He was 5th behind Lowndes. Mark Walkden and Steve Winwood were inside the top 10 for this stage, and so was Todd Reed in the Proton. The second running of Hopfields was effectively the first. After Ed Ordinsky's crash the day before, the stage had been cancelled. Bourne and Evans were the only drivers to get a run on the day before they dead heated on this pass. Crocker and Herridge matched the time, making it a four-way share of fastest time. Spencer Lowndes banked the fifth quickest effort. Dwyer's 2 was a 20k stage, and over each of those kilometres, Possum Bourne was almost a second faster than the opposition.
And 8 right tightens to 5, 6 right in. And 6 left. Flip, straight 8, crest 60. 6, 7
The 15-second gain increased his lead to 33 over teammate Crocker. Crocker's time was an 11.58, but Spencer Lowndes rose to Mitsubishi's challenge and snatched second for the stage. Michael Guest was equal third on this one, and the Evo 7 was finally showing its true potential. The question on everyone's lips was what happened to Simon Evans. He'd been pretty jovial until now and driving hard.
I've got a flat tyre. Oh, you've got it, you bloody joke.
Last right.
Sadly, the tyre dramas cost Evans substantial time.
I just can't cut a brake, can I? A bloody flat tyre on the first stage after service, dropped 4 minutes. I guess it gives us some good information against the custom spec tyre to make these better for next time.
A surprise in the top 10 was Craig Neal, who was recovering from a roll on the pre-event shakedown just days earlier. Bourne blew them away on stage 14, Wiltons.
Flip, long 4 left. And right, and 5 left line in. And short 6, 7 right. 40. Long 5, 6 right, opens 40. Turn 3, 4 left.
Despite scattered showers in the hills, the Kiwi driver pulled ahead by 26 seconds overall as the trailing crews battled to stay in touch.
You're always confident in trying your best, you know, but nothing's a done deal until it's done in sport.
Mitsubishi's main man, Lowndes, impressed despite Bourne's dominance, claiming second fastest times on this stage too.
Yeah, a little bit slipperier than yesterday, but with all the rock embedded in the ground, still a reasonable amount of grip there and a lot of fun to drive.
Michael Guest was having a complete change of form compared to yesterday, now fourth outright, and locked in a battle with Dean Herridge. The gap between third and fourth, 9 seconds. The analysis of the first part of Heat 2 shows Crocker losing ground between SS 12 and 14. Bourne was consistent, winning every stage from 10 to 14. Lowndes an impressive move up the ladder with second fastest times on stages 13 and 14. Evans' tyre problems caused the fluctuation between 25th on SS 13 and third quickest on 14. 4 drivers shared fastest time on stage 12.
When we return, Heat 2 continues on the Subaru Safari, the all-blue battle, and a championship in the balance. We're back in the service park for the 2002 Subaru Safari. Here are the closing stages of Heat 2.
Possum Bourne's 48-second lead now almost certainly ensured Heat 2 victory, and that meant Cody Crocker's best way to take outright honours in the event was to win the most number of stages over both heats, unlocking the tie. But with 3 stages remaining, Bourne was one ahead, 7-6.
Go! 80, slippy 5 left, 50.
Now, on the technically difficult Bushy Park, Crocker was looking for an edge, but instead they tied, their 4th shared win of the rally. Behind them, young Will Orders in the 3rd Petacar was brilliant, just 1 second off the leaders and for the first time ahead of his cousin Scott, struggling with serious brake loss. On the long Torrent stage, conditions were variable and dangerous. Sunshine on the start turned to rain squalls midway. Bourne emerged first. His time was 3 seconds slower than his morning's best. Surely this stage win would be Crocker's.
I'm pleased to see the end of it. That was really quite slippery in there. And we pushed pretty hard because we wanted to try and win the stage. So we'll see how that goes because it's quite tight this is over the stage, who won the most stages to see who wins the rally.
120. Clear crest 6 right. Opens 8 mid. Tightens 6.
Crocker charged. He took 5 seconds off his morning time, a 2 minute 19, the same as Bourne. 2 stages, 2 ties.
Oh, dead even again. Yeah, it's a little bit of a battle because there's a win at stake here. 1 point's going to make the difference, I think, between Possum and myself. So, yeah, and we're dead even on wins, on stage wins. So I think then it's going to all come down to the DEC to decide who wins the actual rally.
But in the race for the podium, this stage didn't count because Simon Evans blazed through the mist, 1 second faster than them both. Flying 11th, Simon was striving to hit the top 10 for the second frustrating day in a row.
What sort of a weekend have you had, Simon?
I don't think I can actually say it on television. It's just disgusting. But no, look, we've definitely had better weekends, and we're looking forward to going to Melbourne, I think.
Crocker's dash had given him some relief from the relentless pursuit by third-place Spencer Lowndes. The Mitsubishi driver had been just 4 seconds behind at Bushy Park. Now he dropped back another 2, struggling against the conditions.
You just got to try and change your brain to, make yourself brake a bit earlier and, really just look for the surface changes, because some roads are still going to have very good grip when it's raining and some are going to have a lot less.
Heading for Formula 2 Series victory, Warwick Brooklyn broke a rear suspension upright. He limped 50 kilometres to the last stage, a 1 kilometre dash around the Derwent Entertainment Centre. 2 corners from home, the drive shaft broke. Momentum alone carried the car across the line. Co-driver Linda Long pushed the winning team into Parc Fermé.
We have just tried so hard this weekend to play a really smart game. Warwick's done everything brilliantly, not a thing out of place. I mean, we had problems on the last stage. We nursed it home for 10 kilometres in the stage and the transport back. Boys did a brilliant job fixing it, only dropped us a few seconds in late time. And now to have the gearbox go on us and to push it out, I think, oh my goodness, but we did it, and that's just fabulous.
For Simon Evans, 10th place seemed a given. He was just 2 seconds behind young Craig Neal, but Neal was 4 seconds faster than his previous best, equalling Evans and defending his first ever top 10 position. At event start, Ed Ordinsky had set a new stage record, 1 minute 3 seconds. Now the rally leaders flung themselves at the stage, from Scott Petter in 8th up to Spencer Lowndes in 3rd, with the exception of Mark Walden. All of them tied Ordinsky's time. It was intense competition. Then came the leading duo. Outright victory in the Subaru Safari would be decided on the 1.15 kilometre DEC stage. New rules in 2002 hand victory to the car with the most stage wins. Bourne held 8, Crocker 7. If Crocker won this stage, equaling Bourne, the tie would be broken in favour of the driver who won the first forest stage of the rally, and that was Crocker. Crocker had to win this stage. Another tie would result in 9 versus 8 and victory to Bourne. Crocker looked smooth and fast. At the finish, his time was a sensational 1 minute 2. Driver and co-driver were elated with the result.
Go! 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 Come on! Just do it!
Bourne went next. He didn't look as tidy.
And 7 right over finish.
I think he's done it.
103. Hopefully he'll be on the same second.
But the clock was all that counted. Another 1 minute 2.
You did 103, did you? 102. 2?
Yeah.
Oh, you got it!
No, you got it.
For the 5th time over this amazing weekend, he tied Crocker, and the Subaru Safari had fallen to Possum Bourne.
It's just unfair that it needs to be split up because Cody did a fantastic job yesterday and it was my turn today, and as a team we did the job for Subaru and ourselves for the championship, so we're stoked.
For 3 stages in succession, Bourne and Crocker had tied, and they'd done so a total of 4 times in Heat 2. Around Bushy Park, Spencer Lowndes and Simon Evans shared the stage victory with them. Simon Evans won stage 16, then dropped to 9th around the Derwent Super Special, but only by 2 seconds. Spencer Lowndes, Dean Herridge and Michael Guest all shared equal third on the DEC with John Goasdaway and Scott Pedder. Possumbourne won Heat 2 by 48 seconds. Spencer Lowndes was third in both heats. Michael Guest stormed into fourth. John Goasdaway was in the top 8 both days, and Mark Walkden was seventh. In both heats, the new young guns had made a very big impression.
Well, that's 5 rounds down now and only 1 to go in a very, very exciting championship. After the break, we'll talk to the podium finishers, the class winners, and spray a little champagne as well.
Sometimes when I'm driving in my car, I wish that you could take the wheel, but you're not there. It's so unfair. What if I hit that dog again? Sometimes when I'm lying in my bed, I let those voices in my head influence me to some degree. Now I'm not sure of it. I wish you knew what I was thinking of. They told me to breathe, they told me to lie down. I figured it out, go 1 in a million, 'cause I'm writing the words down. I figure my chances are 1 in a million. I don't know why, I don't know where to begin.
And why wouldn't you celebrate after another desperately close finish in an Australian rally round? Let's talk to the place getters.
Spencer Lowndes and Chris Randell, congratulations, 2 sensational third positions, and you've done the job for the Mitsubishi team in the Manufacturers' Championship.
Yeah, you know, I think we've still got a good lead with 2 rallies to go, so that's obviously our major aim, you know, is to consolidate our manufacturer points lead in the next 2 rallies.
Mitsubishi, of course, now 52 points only ahead of Subaru in the Manufacturers' Championship. It's going to be tight in Melbourne.
Yeah, it will be tight in Melbourne, but we'll obviously, being our home rally, we'll be giving it absolutely everything we've got, and I think, you know, we can hopefully, you know, drive it a fair bit quicker than we were down here.
Cody Crocker and Greg Folletta, just a sensational run yesterday, and today so close.
Yeah, we had a few dramas today, but I mean that's part of the sport, isn't it? You know, you have your ups, and that was great yesterday, and with not so good days today. We lost our brakes and had a flat tyre and lost a bit of time, but we were pretty close on for the last stage here, and unfortunately Possum pipped us. It's all about 1 second, so never mind, we're second and we're pretty happy with that.
Winners of Subaru Rally of Tasmania, Possumbourne and Mark Stacey. You couldn't have done it any tighter, could you?
Yeah, sure not. But at least if we lost, the Subaru would still win, and we had to do something here because we didn't get it right in Canberra.
Of course, looking forward to Melbourne now. You've got yourself a bit of a lead, but it's by no means a done deal.
Oh, no. There's still a lot of work to do to win the championship. But what you got to do is keep building on what you've got and try and give yourself the best chance possible. And that was the whole idea of trying to win today. That extra bonus point might be the difference when it comes to the wire, because if we have one screw up, one thing go wrong, one corner out of Melbourne, then we'll need it.
Stace, there's 2 ways of winning Melbourne, isn't there? There's one way is to go slow. You can do it on 2 fourth places. The other way is to do it the Possumbourne way. Which way do you reckon it'll be?
That was exactly what I was going to say. No, I think we'll be going the Possum way. Yeah, absolutely. No, we don't go there for safety. We go there to win. Like, if we can win a heat, then that'll do it for us anyway. So why don't we just win a heat and then have some fun?
Glenn Weston and John Goasdaway taking out the outright privateers this weekend. I guess consistency has been the key.
Oh yes, for sure. You know, the event's so close and so tight. If you have any minor slip up, you can be in real trouble. And you know, we've really focused on getting the car right this year. Put in a lot of hard work in the workshop to try to iron out the problems that have held us back in the previous few seasons, and it's paying dividends. So we're very happy.
Now, John, going into the Rally of Melbourne, just 4 points behind the Atkinson brothers for outright privateer championship. What's your plan of attack?
Yeah, I think with the drop rounds, we'd actually be in front after this event, but we had never planned to do Melbourne, so don't have a plan of attack yet, but I guess we'll go home and reassess things and see if we can come up with $1 somewhere and try and get down there.
Surely, if you're this close to taking out the championship, you've got to give it a go.
Yeah, that's what we think, so we'll do everything we can to possibly to be there, and if we go there, we'll give it everything we've got.
Well, Warwick, if that wasn't a hard-fought victory, I don't know what is. How hard has it been today to get this championship win?
It has not been easy, I can assure you. I mean, this morning, look, all the times looked fast, but no one really knew what was going on. We had a brake line, get a hole in it. We lost brakes. We went off the road, drove over this huge boulder. I got a hole in the floor under my seat. I mean, man, I still think we won the day, and yeah, it's never easy and it's never over until it's really over.
Tomo, you've taken out the Aussie car class for 2002. Congratulations.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you very much.
What was the hardest part about achieving the victory?
Finishing today, actually, we had an absolute nightmare run. We borrowed a differential out of an old taxi to try and get round today, and then during a transport stage we had the front left wheel fall off, so we've had a few dramas, but yeah, we got here in the end and we've come away with a championship win.
Recapping the overall results for the Subaru Safari, and just 1 point in it between Bourne and his teammate Cody Crocker. Another podium for Spencer Lowndes. Has been a pretty good year for the young driver for Mitsubishi, ahead of Subaru's project man Dean Herridge. Scott Petter in the top 5, Michael Guest in the top 7, ahead of Atkinson and Walton. Great result for Ben Barker and Lyndall Drake getting into the top 10, ahead of Steve Winwood. Disappointing weekend for Simon Evans, and in equal 12th, Craig Neal and Philip Dodd. Possum Bourne leading the championship now by 26 points from Ed Ordinsky, and he leads on corrected time as well. That is dropping their worst 2 heat results. But after 10, that's how it looks, with Cody Crocker not far behind Ordinsky. Great results too for Lowndes and Herridge, building on their performance in Tasmania. In the Manufacturers' Championship, it is still Mitsubishi looking very strong, and reminding you that the Rally Australia World Championship round is part of this battle, so it won't be over after Melbourne. In the Privateers battle, a very close contest, with Atkinson leading Gawasdaway by 4, but not much between any of these drivers, and some very good ones among them. Now, it's been wrapped up in the Aussie Cup. Dave Thompson has won it, and so too Warwick Rooklyn in Formula 2 after all but 1 round in the championship. And that is next. The final round in the championship is the Rally of Melbourne. The date, the 21st to the 22nd of September, and on Network 10 you can see it on the 6th of October, right after RPM. But we hope you've enjoyed this latest round of the championship. On behalf of the entire 10 crew here in Tasmania, bye for now.
Danger, slow. Right off bridge, 80, clip, 100. Press 50.